Welcome back to another video. This time of the year in early April, plants are beginning to leaf out and things are beginning to green up again. And this is also this can also be a good time to transplant plants like rhubarb. So these plants can also be transplanted in the fall as well. However, I was busy and didn't get around to doing it, so now I'm doing it in early spring. These rhubarb plants have already begun to leaf out just a little bit, so before they get any larger, I am going to move them now. In particular, I have two rhubarb plants that I want to move. They're kind of getting encroached upon, kind of shaded out by the surrounding plants, and because I planted them a little too close together. So I'm trying to rectify that situation by moving them a little farther apart. Alright, so here we are back in early April, and the rhubarb is just beginning to come up. Of course, I had this mulch layer of leaves you can see covering the rhubarb, and it's been poking up over top of that mulch layer. So right now I'm going to try to transplant a couple of these rhubarb plants. There's a small one back in there. It's kind of hard to see, it's behind some leaves, right, so in between these two plants is about 1.5 feet, and in between those two plants also is another plant. However, I noticed throughout the course of the season last year, that plant that was in the middle got shaded out pretty bad. So I'm gonna transplant it and kind of move it, maybe expand the row up that way a little bit. These guys are pretty close too, but I might just kind of let that go for now. You know, even though these guys are close, they might have a little bit more space to spread out that way if I move that plant out. But anyway, this one is definitely having a hard time, so I'm just going to move this one for right now, and we'll go from there. Also, I just want to point out that the tips of these rhubarb leaves are kind of yellowish, actually. This could just be an early spring kind of thing. Naturally, there's some more over here too. You know, maybe the nitrogen levels might be a little deficient this time of the year. The fixing bacteria hasn't necessarily woken up yet. It could be other things as well, but it's something I'll keep my eye on and see if it gets worse, or maybe it will get better. But I just wanted to kind of point that out real quick. Alright, so, okay, so here is the plant in question. I have a trowel. I may actually need a shovel to really get that guy out of the ground. Not totally sure how well rooted they are, but I'm about to find out. Yeah, I think I want a shovel. Note, when I'm digging around the rhubarb, I want to try to give it some space. So I'm digging about 3 inches out from the plant because I don't want to damage the root structures too much or anything like that. I want to stress out the plant as little as possible so that hopefully it can grow as productively as it can this year. As you can see, this rhubarb plant has a very long taproot. It can penetrate deep into the soil. Like I've said in previous videos, this can be seen as a bioaccumulator, digging deep into the soil and extracting nutrients and trace minerals. And as the leaves and the foliage die back each year, or they get composted or mulched back into a system, these nutrients are then breaking down and used by microorganisms, which can then make these nutrients more bioavailable to plants. Generally, people like to space rhubarb plants about 3 to 4 feet apart. For me, I'm doing about 1.5 to 2 feet apart. And if these plants continue to get larger, maybe I'll have to rethink that. And it might depend on what type of variety you have. Some varieties might be larger than others. The variety I have so far seems to be doing pretty well with the spacing I have. The variety I have so far doesn't seem like it's gotten huge yet. It may in the future, and I may have to end up spacing it out 3 to 4 feet, we'll see. But throughout the season I do harvest the stalks pretty somewhat heavily, so these plants are usually not shading out each other until later on in the season anyway. But of course we know that rhubarb leaves can reach out from the plant and become really huge. And so they do need their space to be able to grow so that they can photosynthesize and be healthy plants. So thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope you got something from it. Take care.